You did not get here by accident. You made the decisions. You held the discipline. You delayed the things that were easier to spend on. You stayed in when everything around you was telling you to get out, and it worked. The number exists because of exactly that. But here is what nobody tells you at the finish line. The finish line is not a finish line. It is a threshold, and the moment you cross it, the rules change. Not slightly, not gradually, completely. The same discipline that built the number starts exposing the number to a risk it was never exposed to before. The same strategy that grew the portfolio starts threatening the portfolio in a way it never did during the years you were adding to it. The same habits that protected you on the way up become the habits that quietly drain you on the way down. Not because you did anything wrong, because the game changed. And nobody sent you the new rules. Most people spend 30 years learning one version of how money works, and then they arrive at the moment they were building toward, and they keep playing by the rules of the version they know. That is where the cost begins, not in the bad decisions, in the good ones, applied to the wrong phase. If you want videos that show you not just the rules, but exactly when the rules change, subscribe now. That is what this channel is built for. Think about the version of you that built this. That version woke up early. That version said no to comfort. That version delayed almost everything that felt good. That version watched the account grow slowly, then faster, then in a way that finally felt real. That version trusted one simple idea. Keep adding, keep holding, do not touch it. For years, that idea was correct. It was correct because time was on its side. A bad year could be absorbed. There was always another year coming. It was correct because the whole system moved in one direction, forward. But the version of you standing here now is different. You are not adding anymore. You are drawing down. And the moment that shift happens, time stops being your ally. A downturn that used to be a pause becomes something else. It becomes a wound that does not close. There is no more forward motion to heal it. This is not only a retirement problem. This is much bigger than retirement. This is what happens every time a person reaches the thing they were chasing. Think about a career. You spend years proving yourself. You say yes to everything. You outwork the room. More used to mean growth. Then you become the leader of that room. The same instinct that got you promoted now makes you look smaller. In the seat you finally earned. Saying yes to everything no longer looks like hunger. It looks like someone who cannot say no. Outworking everyone no longer looks like drive. It looks like someone who does not trust their team. Nobody told you the manual changed the day you got the title. You just kept running the old one because it had never failed you before. Think about a relationship. In the beginning, constant attention builds trust, constant closeness, constant reassurance. It works. The relationship deepens because of exactly that behavior. But past the beginning, a relationship changes phase. It starts needing space as much as closeness. In that new phase, the same closeness reads differently. It stops looking like care. It starts looking like control. The same behavior, a completely different outcome. Not because the person changed, because the phase changed, and the behavior did not. Think about a business. The habits that launch a company are rarely the habits that sustain it. Moving fast without a plan feels bold in year 1. It feels reckless in year 10. Once there is something real to lose. A founder who cannot slow down is not being loyal to what worked. They are exposing something they spent years building, to a risk they never faced before. This pattern is not rare. It shows up everywhere a person reaches a peak. Every ceiling you break becomes a new floor, and every floor has different rules than the one below it. Nobody hands you those new rules. You are expected to sense them on your own. Most people do not, because sensing them requires questioning the very approach that just proved itself, and nothing feels less natural than doubting a method the moment after it succeeds. Think about health. The discipline that gets you into shape is intense. Strict meals, long sessions, no days off. That intensity works, because the body is starting from very little. Every bit of effort shows fast. But once you reach the shape you wanted, the same intensity starts working against you. The body that needed to be pushed now needs to be maintained. Pushing it the same way leads to injury, or burnout, or both. The mindset that built the result is not the mindset that protects it. Nobody sends you a message telling you the training phase is over. You just keep training the same way, because it worked. Because stopping feels like giving up. This is the quiet mistake hiding inside almost every success story. Not laziness, not carelessness. The opposite. Discipline, applied one phase too long. Consistency, aimed at a target that has already moved. You built something real. Nobody is questioning that. The years of decisions, the sacrifices, the discipline, all of it mattered. But the thing you built now exists in a different environment, not the one that created it. And environments do not send warnings. They simply change, quietly, while the person inside them keeps doing what always worked before. This is the part almost nobody prepares you for. Not because it is hidden, because it is invisible from inside the habit itself. You cannot see the shift from where you are standing. You can only see it from outside the routine. By stepping back long enough to ask if it still fits. Very few people ever step outside long enough to ask. This is not a story about mistakes. Mistakes are loud. Mistakes leave evidence. This is quieter than that. This is about a strategy that never failed. Right up until the day it stopped fitting. Nothing broke. Nothing collapsed. The methods simply outlived the moment they were built for. And because nothing broke, nobody stopped to check. Why would you question a system that has never let you down? That is the exact reason it goes unnoticed. Success is the best disguise a mismatch can wear. You are not looking for a wall you hit. You are looking for a shift you never felt happen. Think about the version of you standing here right now. You are not less capable than the person who built this. You are simply standing in a different room, with different physics. The mistake is not weakness. The mistake is measuring the new room with the old ruler. And the old ruler was never wrong. It was just built for a room you already left. Before we continue, drop a comment right now. Was there a moment in your life when you realized the rules had changed and nobody had told you? Tell me below. I read every single one. Here is the part almost nobody says out loud. Your brain does not send a notification when the phase changes. There is no alert, no signal, no voice that tells you the rules are different now. Your brain does something else. It rewards consistency. Consistency feels like integrity. It feels like proof that you follow through. It feels safe because it worked before. So when the phase changes and the old strategy stops fitting, your brain reacts differently. It does not read it as new information. It reads it as a test of your character. Changing course feels like abandoning the thing that made you who you are. Staying the same feels like loyalty. That is the trap. Loyalty to a strategy is not loyalty to yourself. The strategy was never the point. It was only ever a tool, built for one specific phase. Nobody teaches you to separate the two, so they fuse together in your mind. The discipline and the identity become one thing. Once they are fused, questioning the strategy feels like questioning yourself. That is why so few people update the manual, not because they are careless, because the update feels like betrayal. This shows up in ways most people never label correctly. A person who cannot stop working after they no longer need to, still measuring their worth in hours, long after hours stopped being the point. A person who cannot stop saving after they have enough, still restricting a life that no longer needs restriction. A person who cannot soften after they finally won, still braced for a fight that already ended. Each of these looks like strength from the outside. Each of these is quietly running on outdated code. The tragedy is not that the code was wrong. The tragedy is that it was right for so long. Nobody thought to check the date on it. Think about what this actually costs. It is not only financial. That part is visible. That part can be measured and explained. The real cost is quieter than that. It is years spent running outdated instructions without ever noticing the instructions expired. It is the leader still proving themselves in a room where they no longer need to prove anything. It is the partner still chasing closeness in a relationship now asking for room to breathe. It is the retiree still treating every dollar like it has 30 years to recover when it does not have 30 years left. None of these people are failing. They are succeeding, using a formula that no longer matches the moment they are in. The formula worked for so long. It earns more trust than the discomfort trying to warn them. That discomfort is not a warning to ignore. It is often the only signal you get. It rarely feels like fear. It feels like something faint, a sense that what used to feel right now feels slightly off. Most people override that feeling. The track record of the old strategy is strong enough to drown out the present moment. This is not about doubting yourself constantly. It is about knowing that arrival itself is a signal. Arrival is not the end of a story. Arrival is where the story quietly asks a new question. Not, did this work? But, does this still apply? Here, now, in this exact phase. Most people never ask that question, because nothing forces them to. There is no ceremony that marks the shift. No moment where the world stops and tells you the rules are different starting today. You have to notice it yourself. Most people do not, because the version of them that built the success is still standing there, still trusting the same instincts, still reaching for the same tools. That version is not wrong for existing. That version got you here, but that version was built for a different game, not the one you are playing now. Somewhere between where you started and where you are standing, the game changed underneath you. Not loudly, not with a warning. It just changed, quietly, while you kept doing what had always worked. Think back to the person who built what you have now. They were not wrong. They were exactly right, for exactly that phase. The problem was never who they were. The problem is that you kept being them, long after the phase asked for someone else. Someone slower, someone more selective, someone willing to protect, not just produce. Growth and protection are not the same skill. They are not even the same mindset. One says, take the risk, because time will fix it. The other says, guard what exists, because time no longer will. Confusing the two is not a failure of intelligence. It is a failure of signal. Nobody rings a bell when the switch should happen, so people keep applying the growth mindset long after they have entered the protection phase. And they call it discipline, because it feels like discipline. It has the shape of discipline. It is not the phase that changed you. You are the same person who built all of this. It is the phase around you that quietly moved, while you kept standing in the same posture. That is the recognition this video was built to give you, not a solution, not a 5-step plan. Just this, a quiet, uncomfortable clarity about the moment the rules changed and the years you may have spent not noticing. There is no villain in this story. Nobody tricked you. Nobody misled you on purpose. The systems did not send a warning, because systems do not send warnings. They simply operate, and you are the one who has to notice when the ground beneath them shifts. Nobody stamps a date on a strategy that says, expires here. You are the only one positioned to notice the exact moment your role changed. The builder becomes the protector. The climber becomes the one holding the ledge. The person still adding becomes the person now living off what was added. And the tools for one role rarely transfer cleanly to the other. You can still be proud of the builder you were. You should be. That version earned everything it has. But pride in the past is not permission, not to keep using its instructions in the present. The room changed. The rules changed with it. And the only real failure left is refusing to notice. This is not a call to change everything today. This is not a 5-step plan, and it never was. This is simply the recognition that a phase can end, quietly, without asking your permission first. Nobody is coming to update you. There is no notification, no email, no signal from the world telling you the season has shifted. The update has to come from inside the pause. From the moment you choose to ask if the old approach still fits, you did everything right. That was never in question. The only question left is this. Was right, for that version of you, still right, for this one. The rules changed the moment you arrived. The question is not whether you know that now. The question is how long you kept playing by the ones that got you here.